everybody, my name is Yanni, and today I'm going to be going over my choice book. It's called Crafting Interpreters by Robert Nixon. It's a free online book. You can buy the print and PDF version and ebook and all these things. But basically what it is, if you can't tell by these little background images here, it is how to create a interpreter for a programming language, like Python. Python is an interpreted language. And basically, interpreted language is it's written in another language, and it takes code and kind of compiles it at runtime. And yeah, that's the most basic explanation I can give, honestly. It just takes code and compiles it at runtime using a whole different range of syntax that's typically a lot easier than a statically typed language like C or Java. So you can read about the author here, by the way. So let's get into the table of contents. This is the first thing you see whenever you open up the web version of the book. And as you can see here, there's two different types of interpreters. There's this tree walk interpreter, which is written in Java, a language that runs on a virtual machine. So it makes it a lot easier. And then there's this Bytecode virtual machine where you actually have to do everything from scratch because you don't have the Java virtual machine to run your code on. And you write this one in C. So I'm currently still on the tree walk interpreter because the book, it's not long for a programming book. It's about 600 pages, but it really goes, it's not about the code, it's about the concepts, you know, so you can rewrite them in other languages, not just Java. And as you can see, we'll go like the first chapter in here, and you see it talks all about what scanning is, the history of scanning, and then it gets into the nitty-gritty code. Alright, so now I'm going to be going into at least what I have done of it, because there's really not much to go into in this book and talk about a plot or the main character, because it's a programming book. It's not all sunshine, rainbows, fairy tales, lullabies, blah blah blah. So we'll just open up my terminal here real quick, and I'll show you. So I believe it's in projects, Java projects, yeah. And now we can run Java src, and once it run, you see this is the REPL, which is basically like a command line way to just run individual lines of code. And let me stop this real quick and clear and Java src.logs. There. So yeah, that's the command line thing, and the reason I typed in Java is because it's written in Java, and so for now I need to run it with the Java runner, which is just Java in the command line. So as you see here, you know, it shows you JLOX, and let's just type in a line of JLOX code. So you can type in I don't know, 10 greater than equal 5. And you can see here, it'll give us all things. It'll give us EOF, which is basically just means end of file. So that'll be triggered like right here where we don't have anything left. Number 10, it'll tell us that it's 10.0 because everything is float values in this interpreter. Greater than equal to, null, and then number 5. So that's all I have now. It really doesn't do anything. It just tells you the token type, which was a pretty long chapter. Okay, so now into the code. I'm not going to explain this all the way. I'm just going to show you what I have so far. So I have this scanner class, which basically reads the code and determines what each token means, or each lexicon, I guess you could call it. By the way, any of these class files are just binary files that the JVM can read, so those aren't actual code. Then we have this token.java, which basically refers to the tokens. It's a class that we can use to it's a class that we can use to like tell you what the token is, instead of having to make a new class for every single token. And then we have these token types, which are just little keywords so we can reference them in the code. And locks.java, this is the main thing. This is what you run. You see, it has its main function. It's the only one with a main function in here. But yeah, you can toss in a file, or you can toss in nothing, and you can just go into this REPL. And it seems I broke something. What did I break? Oh, there shouldn't be this here. There we go. Save that. Okay. Now, and you see it has this run file. This will just run the file. this will bring up that little prompt that we had earlier, and yeah, all these other things. They're important, but I don't really have time to explain them. Then we just have constant colors, which is basically just references to a bunch of different colors, so we can show colored terminal output. And I can actually show you that right now. If we were to just type in something bogus, it's now we have identifiers. Okay. Let's type in something that's not a keyword. There. Okay. Error. It'll tell you error, and it'll put it in red. So that's what the constant colors are for. Control D gets us out of there. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the interpreter. I know it was pretty boring, because, you know, again, it doesn't have a main character or anything like that, but I encourage you to read it. It's very helpful, and if you ever consider going into programming and, you know, becoming a software engineer or a computer engineer, or even just anything with technology, this is a pretty important skill to have, knowing how to do all these things, and really knowing how to set up a project. Not really knowing just how to make an interpreter, but knowing how to set up a project is a pretty big deal, and this one teaches you very well how to structure your project with different files that do different things, so you don't have a file that's like 800 lines long, so you can split them up into multiple files that actually make sense. Something I did struggle with before I started reading this book. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this. If the audio sounded terrible, I'm using open source drivers. I'm on Manjaro. Manjaro is a pretty good distribution if you want to use Manjaro, but yeah, open source is not the best, and all this code is on Linux. It's not on Windows. So yeah, see you later.